What if I told you the first social media post wasn't on a screen, but on a cave wall? No likes, no followers, no hashtags, just silence. No words, no light, not even the concept of a future. Just a man, thousands of years ago, crawling into the belly of a mountain, torch in one hand, paint in the other, and a desperate need burning in his chest. See me. He didn't have electricity, he didn't have a language, but he had something to say, and he carved it into stone. A bison, a handprint, a figure half human, half beast. Was it a warning, a memory, a prayer, or was it something no one has understood yet? Think about it. Why would anyone risk their life, crawling deep into the earth, just to draw? Why create something that no one might ever see? Unless that wasn't the point. Unless the act of expression itself, the need to leave a mark, was the message. Today we're stepping into that darkness, not just into caves, but into the human soul. Because these ancient drawings aren't just art, they're the oldest mirror in history, showing us who we really are. Are you ready to see what they were trying to say? That's what we're going to dig into in this video. We're going after that exact question, exploring the mystery, diving deep into the research, and uncovering what these ancient images truly mean. Because today we're going to look beyond those primitive drawings. This isn't just about some bison sketches. This is a gateway into the oldest language known to humankind. And together, we're going to walk through that doorway. If you're really curious, the answer isn't on the wall, it's inside the human being. What you're looking for is often right in front of you. You just have to choose to see it. So close your eyes again. Picture yourself in a dark cave, cold stones beneath your feet, a torch in your hand, the flame flickering with every breath of wind, barely lighting the path ahead. As you walk deeper, red, brown, and black figures begin to appear on the walls. Running animals, handprints, hunting scenes, strange shapes, and then it hits you. This isn't just a picture, it's a voice, a silent scream echoing from thousands of years ago. These drawings are trying to tell you something. That scream is saying, "See me." But hearing a voice like that isn't easy. To understand it, you don't read history books. You read the human soul. These images aren't about what they hunted. They're about what they felt. Their fears, their hopes, their dreams. Maybe they were calling out to gods, maybe to each other, maybe even to us, to warn us, to connect with us. Maybe they were trying to tell us about a great disaster to come. So try to feel the moment. Maybe you'll be the one to understand the message no one else has. Before humans had words, they had stories, and they told them through drawings. Because storytelling is what makes us human. To tell a story is to prove you weren't alone. It's to leave a mark behind, in case someday someone sees it and understands, just like you're doing right now. If you're watching this video, you're already on that journey. This isn't just a trip into the past, it's a journey through the human spirit. And if you enjoy exploring the unknown and pushing your mind, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Because here we don't just share knowledge, we think together. The Stone Age man chose a wall because he didn't have another choice. And yet today we can see those lines he drew through a screen. Thousands of years, languages, cultures, wars, and inventions. Later that drawing is still here, still with us. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what they wanted. Because their message reached us. But what if those drawings aren't art? What if they're a language, a prayer, a cry? Maybe it was just a bored kid doodling. Maybe it was a shaman performing a ritual. Or maybe someone just wanted to say, "I was here." Whatever it was a message. And every message waits for someone to receive it. That someone could be you watching this video right now. When you think about it, this ancient form of communication isn't so different from today's social media. Back then, they drew on cave walls. Now we post on screens. Back then, they needed to share. Today, we still do. The tools changed, but the instinct stayed the same: to be seen, to be noticed, to tell the world you exist. That instinct never went away, and it never will, because history, after all, repeats itself. In this video, we'll decode that ancient effort. Why did they draw on walls? What were they really saying? Was it truly a message, or just instinct? And most importantly, what does this form of storytelling say to us today? Why did they paint those cave walls? We're going to find out together, because some answers aren't found in books. They're written on the walls of caves, and together we're going to read them. When we first look at those cave drawings, we usually just see them as art. Wow, they actually drew this pretty well, we think. But stop for a second, was this really just art? Or was it actually the first form of communication? Let me take you to France, to the Lascaux cave. It was discovered by accident in 1940 by 4 kids. When they stepped inside with flashlights and saw those giant animal figures covering the walls, they were stunned. There were bison, horses, deer, even humans. But it wasn't just a drawing, it was a full-blown story from 17,000 years ago. Who would have guessed that these images on a cave wall were that ancient? And yet the beauty of the art was striking. So much so that Pablo Picasso once said, "After seeing those drawings, we've learned nothing." He wasn't just talking about the artistry, he meant the depth of thought, because Stone Age humans weren't just capturing an image, they were sharing an emotion, an idea, a worldview. How could someone with an undeveloped mindset create something that precise? The Lascaux images were made with 3-dimensional thinking. The figures were placed to fit the curves of the cave walls, coming to life with the flicker of light. There was clear intent, not primitive at all. In fact, it was deeply sophisticated. And not just in France. In Spain's Altamira, Indonesia's Sulawesi, and Turkey near Göbekli Tepe, we find similar cave drawings. Across different regions and cultures, humans were driven by the same urge to express something. No matter where you look, people seem to be moved by a deeper purpose. That's where the anthropologists and archaeologists come in. Carbon dating reveals the age of these drawings, the makeup of the paints, the pigments used, the stones they were made with, all are studied, and research keeps confirming this. These images weren't random. There was a ritualistic side to them, maybe a pre-hunt spell, a fertility prayer, or even a form of education within the tribe. In some drawings, animals look wounded. In others, detailed hunting scenes unfold. It wasn't just about recording a moment, it was about reliving it, like a director setting up a scene, casting roles, and telling a story. But why paint deep inside caves? Why not outside in the daylight? That's the real question. Some researchers believe it wasn't just about being seen, but being heard. Thanks to the cave's acoustics, certain chambers allowed sound to echo. Maybe these were spots for rituals, chanting, even dancing. It was a stage where image, sound, and movement came together. Long before modern theater, humanity may have built its first stage in stone. So picture it in the dark, with a flame fed by animal fat, a person's hands covered in paint, drawing on a cave wall. Why? Because they had to. Because something inside needed to be shared, because they wanted to prove they existed. That's the same energy we feel today, the same connection that draws us, curious minds, toward history. If you know that feeling too, then it's truly great to have you here. If you've made it this far, you're clearly not just a casual viewer. So let me be real with you. If this kind of content speaks to you, go ahead and subscribe. Your likes and comments help us reach more people who love this stuff too. We're writing this story together. Let's keep going. Because this isn't just about art, it's one of the earliest signs of human mental evolution. The need to express, to communicate, to symbolize, to remember, maybe even to become self-aware. And when we look closely, we find geometric patterns too. Waves, dots, crosses. We still don't fully understand them, but they repeat. That means there's a system. Maybe this was the beginning of writing. Maybe these caves were the spark that lit the first alphabet. Maybe every animal stood for a letter, and the fact that these symbols show up in so many places, that's not a coincidence. Today we think of communication as words, but sometimes a single symbol is more powerful. Knowing that opens a whole new way of thinking. It's like sign language symbols that speak volumes. And maybe these signs aren't just stuck on cave walls. Maybe they echo inside us too, but we don't hear them. Because we don't need to. If we lived back then, maybe we would. These cave walls aren't just relics of the past. They're windows into the oldest version of us. Every line, every shape, every figure is a whisper from the past saying, "Don't forget me." There's this fine line between just surviving and searching for meaning, and those cave paintings sit right on that line, because Stone Age humans weren't just hunters. They were becoming thinkers, dreamers, questioners. They didn't draw just to survive. They drew to feel, to remember, to become aware, and maybe even to pray. The bison, the horses, the hunting scenes, the half-animal, half-human figures, they weren't just images of what they saw. They were pieces of what they felt. When we look at those paintings today in museums or books, we're not just seeing drawings, we're peeking into the inner world of a mind, and that world might have been way more complex than we imagine. That's why even a single line could carry the weight of a life-changing moment, or even mark someone's final breath. Research shows many of these images were drawn deep inside the darkest, hardest-to-reach parts of caves. Maybe they weren't meant for others to see at all. Maybe they were messages to supernatural beings, or to something sacred. It was communication, but not the kind we know. It was like a wordless prayer, a silent cry. Were rituals performed in front of those drawings? Did the entire community stand there quietly, staring at them, connecting with them? Because to draw wasn't just to tell a story, it was to bring something to life, to carve it into memory, to release it into the universe. Maybe they chose remote spots for the same reason we keep our journals hidden, afraid someone else might read our private truths. And that brings us back to ourselves. Every time we study the past, we're really trying to understand us. Sure, modern humans have tech, but deep down we're still asking the same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What should I say? Stone Age people painted on cave walls. We write on screens. They thought in color, we think in words. But the urge to express, to be known, to leave a trace, it's always been there, and always will be. Because we were created to seek purpose. That's why watching these videos isn't just about learning, it's about connecting. And if you're still here, watching, you're not just a viewer anymore. You're part of the story, so don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because this isn't a one-way conversation, it's a chain of communication that's been going on for thousands of years. They carved into walls, we speak together now. And in the future, maybe people will connect brain to brain through signals. Just think about that. Some cave drawings repeat the same symbols, dots, zigzags, spirals. Scientists think these might be early signs of abstract thought. Humans were no longer just drawing what they saw, they were drawing what they thought. And that kind of abstraction marks a leap in evolution, the birth of thought in form, maybe even the roots of writing, architecture, math, and music. A dot, a circle, a handprint, each one a call that says, I was here. And when you look at it that way, even the simplest pattern can hold a universe of meaning. Turning abstract thought into visible marks might have sparked entire waves of invention. What's even more fascinating is that some drawings were added to over time. One person drew something, then years later, someone else added to it. Maybe a father made the first mark, and his son came back years later. Maybe generations touched that same wall. That cave wall wasn't just a rock, it was memory. Like today's digital archives, journals, or social media timelines, it was their version of a living story. The cave wall was humanity's first screen, and maybe one of those lines meant someone had died. All these drawings tell us one simple truth: to tell is a human need, to understand is a human journey, and that journey isn't over. From the first image scratched on stone, to the words we speak today, humans have changed in shape, but not in spirit. We still fear, we still wonder, we still try to make sense of it all. And most of all, we still tell our stories. Today it's my voice, tomorrow it'll be yours. Some may see these drawings as just archaeological remains, but we know better. Every figure on those walls was part of a life. Maybe it witnessed a woman giving birth. Maybe it celebrated a boy's first hunt. Maybe it was drawn to honor the death of a leader. Each image held a story. And now, as we trace those stories, we're building a bridge between the voices of the past and the minds of the present. Don't forget, those drawings don't need us. We need them. Because humans don't just live, we have to understand, we have to tell. If a person doesn't find meaning in life, they come and go as if they were never here. And that's why we must try to understand those ancient drawings. Thousands of years ago, someone stood in a dark cave and left a mark. Maybe it was the shape of a hand, maybe a bison or a deer, or maybe a symbol we'll never fully understand. But one thing's certain, they wanted to say something. They wanted to be seen, to be felt, to be remembered. And in that moment, we're reminded that humans aren't just living creatures, we're thinking, feeling beings. It's in our nature to want to be noticed, to be loved, to matter. So when we look at those walls today, we're not just seeing artwork, we're hearing a message across time. I was here, I lived something, and I'm leaving it for you. But do we really take the time to understand what they left behind? Are we teaching our kids to care? Not really. We hand them off to technology and move on. Those drawings are more than just history. They're traces of thought. They carry the need to express, the fear of death, the wonder of nature, the longing for meaning. Sometimes they're prayers, sometimes rituals, sometimes just a child's simple doodle. But in every case, they express deeply human emotions. And maybe it's our job now to pause, reflect, and try to rediscover our truth. What's wild is that, even after all these centuries, we're still doing the same thing. We post, we draw, we talk online, all trying to share something. The tools have changed, the screens have replaced stone walls, but the instinct, still the same. And maybe, just maybe, we can find our way back to who we really are by seeing things from a new perspective. And if you've made it this far into the video, that means you're someone who believes there's something worth sharing too. So take a second, ask yourself, what story are you telling? If these questions left a mark on you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Because this isn't just a story from the past, it's a part of the journey we're all still on today. And that journey doesn't end here. Because what was drawn on those cave walls wasn't just a figure, it was the oldest question humanity has ever asked. Will someone see me? And now, across all this time, we're finally answering, yes, we see you.